All right. We're going to get into this week's Morton Spot, which is our Smackdown review for the week. Uh, this week, SmackDown was pretty cool. I had a good time watching SmackDown this week. A little bit more of a good time than I had watching Raw. So we'll get into it. We opened it up with Chelsea Green versus Michin, which was pretty well. Okay, hold on. We opened it up with Paul Heyman coming out to talk about Netflix Raw and the Tribal Chief and stuff like that. Cody Rhodes came out, and then Kevin Owens came out, and then they insulted one another, and they chased around, and then Heyman was alone in the ring, and Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga showed up. Jimmy Uso tried to make the save, and then Rhodes came out and chased him away. A lot really didn't happen here. Like a lot happened, but not a lot happened.
Yeah, sounds like it.
It was kind of just like a cluster, really. But then we kind of went into Chelsea Green versus Michin. Um, When we came back to the ring after the break, Michin was already in the ring. I don't like this. Michin is a legitimate contender for a title. Please stop not giving her an entrance. It's stupid. Uh, I don't like that. Give everybody an entrance. I don't care. I love that about AEW and I hate it about WWE. Give everybody an entrance. And yes, AEW sometimes does not give people an entrance. The people they do not give an entrance are not regular competitors on their show. They
Generally
are
not.
they're generally like
Local
local
best.
talents. Yeah. So I WWE does it to people who are like contracted to WWE full time, and I hate that. Like, don't do that. Especially if you got somebody like Michin, who are you trying to say is a legitimate competitor for this title
Yeah.
that Chelsea Green holds. Which I can watch these two. Like they had a pretty typical match. It was good. I really dig Piper Niven dressing up as a Secret Service agent. I also really dig Chelsea Green leaning into like the red, white, and blue patriotic stuff. Like I guess she
Especially when she's Canadian. It's
yeah,
funny.
the story is I guess she thinks she's like a citizen of the like a citizen and someone like very important in the United States now because she's the US champion. So I love it. I love it. I love it all. I really love her and
She's
Michin.
special.
I
I
hope
I like her a lot. She's special.
I hope that we eventually get Chelsea Green and Michin in a world title feud because they've been doing this for so long. They were just a regular no feud with no belt. I'm almost positive that they brought in these secondary women's titles to give this feud a title. This may have been the catalyst for it because they were having a great feud with like dumpster matches and stuff. That's where we had
Yeah.
Icky Chelsea and Stinky Chelsea last year. Like it's been great. So the match wasn't the best one they've had, but they're always entertaining. They're always entertaining. So and Chelsea Green, especially with the way she's playing with this US title gimmick that she's doing. Uh, it's just great. She's also the greatest and longest reigning women's U.S. champion ever. I mean, she's really playing into the
It's
eye of
true. It's true.
everything. But it's true though. Um, so then we had we had the Garzas and Pretty Deadly. Um, I always like seeing Pretty Deadly just because they're entertaining as hell.
They're funny.
Um, they kind of started fighting before the bell even rang. A lot of high flying, a lot of acrobatics as you would expect out of these two teams. I mean, it's the Garzas and Pretty Deadly. They're both, you know, there's no meaty men in these duos. Um, of course, being Legato people, Escobar and Electra Lopez interfered, and the Garzas got the win. Um, I'm not really sure who the heel. I mean, I guess Pretty Deadly's the heels here, but Los Garzas hasn't really been a face faction, so
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, wait, those are both heel teams.
they
That's
are
weird.
technically, yeah. So it was kind of weird. I'm not mad at the Garzas getting away. Well, I mean, what led to this match though is that Pretty Deadly told or told I almost said Private Party. Pretty Deadly told Montez Ford the the Garzas were the ones that attacked him or that attacked them and put them out
Hmm.
before their tag team match, and that's how but it was DIY.
Right, right.
And then Apollo Crews came and told the Garzas that it was DIY that did it, and that Pretty Deadly had like sold them out or threw them under the bus or whatever. And so that's kind of where this came from because
Okay,
Pretty Deadly said the Garzas did it,
gotcha.
and Apollo Crews was like, no, no, no. So yeah, so like everybody kind of knows who did it now. They know it was DIY. Johnny Gargano is playing an epic heel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
so good.
I would again encourage you to go back on Peacock and find whatever you can on his heel run in NXT. Like he's an excellent baby face. He's also an excellent heel, and honestly, pound for pound, one of the best in the world. Like he is an incredibly gifted wrestler. I just I don't know how high his ceiling is in WWE because he's still like 5'7". Like I mean, Vince is gone, but Trips isn't like super enamored with the tiny guys.
So then we had
He's still a body guy.
yeah, yeah, a little bit. So then we had Nakamura versus LA Knight for the uh US title. Um they ended up so LA Knight had helped a few other people. I can't remember who all it was, but they had tried to lock Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu out of the building. And LA Knight had helped do that. So they of course interfered and this match is a no contest.
But they got locked out. How did they get back in?
Don't know. Don't know. I don't think either they didn't say or I just missed how they got back in. Um, not sure. I still don't know. Like I don't know why they're inserting LA Knight into this. I hopefully it means he's going to get a shot at a title. But what title is there for him to have
Yeah.
except the one? You know, and his whole thing is I want to have my belt. You know, so like that's his whole deal. He loves having a title.
Who
Yeah.
doesn't?
No.
Yeah.
Um, so then we had A Town Down Under versus Motor City Machine Guns. Um, I hate A Town Down Under. Uh, I think they're kind of funny.
I don't
Kind of.
know that much about Waller. I know he's Australian.
He's
Um,
Australian. He's got like prick face
yeah,
and he kind of is a prick.
yeah.
And then he's teamed with Austin Theory, who's Austin Theory,
See,
and
Austin Theory. See, Austin Theory. He looks like somebody that Ricochet might hang out with.
that part.
That's why it always like, why are you pushing this guy? This guy looks like a creep. Like
Yeah.
he really looks like a creep. Like
Uh,
I
the
it makes
match
me
was
uncomfortable.
good. The match was good. I just don't really like A Town Down Under. I'm not into it. I never have been really into it. Yeah, even when they have opponents who I really like Motor City Machine Guns. I just don't. I just don't really like it. I just didn't. Kind of a low point in the show, honestly.
Well, haven't they
Uh,
been teasing their split for like a year now too? Like
yeah, kind of. They're always kind of catty to one another. It's
crap
weird.
or get off the pot, man.
Yeah, pretty
There's a
much.
difference between long-term storytelling and dragging things out. Difference.
So then we had Tiffany Stratton come out, get a Byron Saxton interview celebrating her title win. She's our new women's champion after cashing in on Nia Jax. Nia Jax came out and called her ungrateful and then basically threatened to end her life.
As you
Uh,
do.
as you do. Yeah. Segment led to a fight. Aldous booked a number one contenders match tonight to see who's going to fight Tiffany next. And it was Naomi, Bianca Belair, Nia Jax, and Bayley, which is weird because that's the tag team champions and Bayley, and the only heel is Nia Jax. And Bayley gets the win on this one. Um, For a four-way, it was kind of short. And at one point, Candice LeRae showed up and to help to obviously help Jax cheat and get a win, and it ended up
Right.
not making a difference at all. Uh, it was a good match for what it was, but it was
There.
just kind of there. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as that. I didn't feel as bad about it as I did about the tag match, though, only because I mean Bayley got a win, so now we're going to get Bayley and Tiffany Stratton at some point in the near future, which I'm cool with. Uh, so yeah, we'll see how they go. I mean, I don't think Bayley's going to win that title, but I do appreciate that we're going to get a match between the two of them. I think it's going to be good. So,
I
uh,
mean, they're far worse dance partners than Bailey.
there could. I'm kind of glad we're getting away from Nia for a little bit. Like, I mean, she's improved for sure, but I'm just not really a huge fan of hers. So we'll just see. I mean, she's had some good matches lately. I can't, say she hasn't, but I'm glad they're getting away from her and getting on to somebody new with the title. But I, I really hope that Bayley doesn't win, just because. Why then? What was the point? Just to get the case off of Tiffany. I mean, I'm not sure. What the move is next. Who the big opponent's going to be. I'm really hoping it's Charlotte Flair.
Which is telling because the the thing about Charlotte is that she always comes back and she always immediately wins the belt, and
Mm-hmm.
people are fed up with it. So the fact that she's been gone long enough for people to actually be hoping for that, I mean, maybe that means it's time to finally bring her back.
And with
Maybe
that,
people aren't as sick of her anymore.
yeah, I hope not. We'll see. But
I
with
mean,
that,
just from your reviews, it seems like they've been treading water in the women's divisions for a long time, especially on the Raw side of things. Like
yeah,
Liv and Rhea have been circling the drain for like 9 months
yeah,
before they finally switched the belt.
I'm not trying to talk too much about it because it's part of later.
Yeah, I,
Um, but yeah, that's basically it, dude. Like, there's just a level of stagnance that seems to have taken place. I need Liv Morgan to go away for a little bit. I need Nia Jax to go away for a little bit. I need them both to go away for a little bit. That's just what you both lost your titles. Please take a vacation. Enjoy yourself. I'm not saying I hate you, never come back. I'm saying go away so we can miss you.
yeah.
Let these people fight somebody else. Let's let the chips fall where they may. Get some new feuds going on, and when you come back, we'll have something different for you, and it'll be new and fresh, and people can appreciate it. Go take a vacation. You earned it, champs. Like,
I mean, how often do wrestlers actually get vacations?
not often
You know?
enough.
Yeah, exactly. So if you had the opportunity, do it.
Yeah, yeah. Just take some time. And now we get into pretty much what you were talking about earlier. You remember what you said about Jimmy Uso being a whipping boy?
Yeah.
And here's our main event. Jimmy Uso and Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. So, of course, we had the scrum earlier, and these guys have been wreaking havoc all over the show. So, of course, we're going to get Jimmy Uso and Cody Rhodes versus Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. And it's a good match for the most part until Owen shows up. And when Owen shows up, he gets Cody Rhodes' attention, and they fight into the back, and that leaves it Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu against Jimmy Uso. And Jimmy Uso gets the shit kicked out of him for a good 5 minutes, and
Mhm.
then takes a fat moonsault from Fatu for the loss. Um, KO and Rhodes were fighting near the stage. They ended up crashing through a table, both of them. The show ended by both of them being looked at by officials. Um,
That sounds like a last man standing setup.
I think it will be,
Yeah,
or maybe a TLC setup or something. I don't know.
maybe.
We'll see what happens. But why does Jimmy have to suffer for this? Poor Jimmy.
I mean, he needs to stop getting DUIs. That's when he'll stop getting punished.
maybe. But I just like I'm gonna get into it a little bit more later,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
the bloodline thing every week. Every week, it's a one-on-one or a two-on-two or a three-on-three that is some amalgamation of some members of two different bloodlines, and then a third, not really official faction of people who said hate bloodline or who hate said bloodlines. Like, can we please stop? It man, I just why is there even a second bloodline anymore? You give the deal with that Jacob, like not Jacob, but Solo Sokoa said himself, if Roman Reigns beats me in tribal combat, I will acknowledge him as the tribal chief. So that means now Roman is everybody's chief, right?
Yeah,
I
but
feel
that
like a
doesn't mean
Star
people are
Wars
happy
meme.
about it.
I feel like a Star Wars meme. Like that means that Roman's everybody's chief now, right? Right?
Right?
Right? No,
Well,
I guess that's not what it
yeah.
means. Um,
Well, okay, so they're probably going to write Solo off for a little bit, which leaves Fatu and Tamatonga with nothing to do. So, what what are they good at? They're good at chaos. So let them do chaos, I guess. I don't know. I've
I
got
would
nothing
love
better. I don't watch
for
the show often enough for me to be able to suggest anything better, honestly.
I got something
So,
better. I got something better right now. The
hey.
tag team division is booty butt cheeks. Let's insert these guys right into the middle of the DIY MCMG feud. Let's do
All
that because
right.
right now the tag. Okay, so right now there's already like 5 tag teams that are seriously in the hunt in the main event piece of portion of the tag team division. Throwing another one in isn't going to make much of a difference. We can still have a lot of really good matches. Those guys would make a really good tag team to have some of these matches. The only problem with doing that until Solo comes back and we figure out what's next in the Bloodline saga is if people start beating them, then Jacob Fatu has lost his aura as an unbeatable world killing machine. Um,
Don't
and
let
I
that
mean,
go. That dude's a
he,
special talent,
yeah, let's not screw up Umaga version 2, please.
right?
Um,
Don't remember what happened to Umaga? Yeah. Don't no.
let's not do that.
No.
I don't want him to start getting beat. I don't want him to go into comedy and shit like that. Although I'm positive he's capable. I've seen interviews
Yeah,
with the
probably.
guy. He's not just like some hulking Tasmanian freaking devil like they present him on TV. He speaks. He says more than "I love you" Solo. He's actually very well spoken. Matter of fact, in all the interviews that I've seen him in. So I mean, he's absolutely not that guy. Like that's not him turned up to 11. That is a completely fictional version of him.
Yeah.
It's just not that's him devoid any humanity, maybe, which maybe that's the point of the character. But he does say things like "I love you" Solo, so there's obviously some humanity in there. That's just not him. That's really not him. But it's a really effective character. Let's not kill it. Let's not kill its aura. Let's not kill its
Yeah.
vibe. But if they're holding it off for just a bloodline thing, like how are we going to maintain that vibe and aura going forward without a concentrated place to put it? You with something like that, it has to be directed always, or it
Hmm.
loses momentum, and then
Yeah.
you drop the ball on it. That's just what happens. So we got to keep this guy moving. I mean, eventually it's going to be where like we have nowhere else to move him. He's going to have to be world champion one day if we continue on this trajectory. But he's going to have to be like pretty soon. He's going to have to clash with Braun Breaker and be the Intercontinental Champion. Which, please, dear sweet baby Jesus, let that happen. I want to see those two guys destroy each other. Like, just that would be so good at the current level. Like, those two would be
You
great.
know what you do? You know what you do? You put it on WWE Speed and have it be the most chaotic, violent 3 minutes you've ever seen. Because
It would be too. They're both
just do
insanely
that.
fast. They're both insanely strong. They're both insanely and wildly athletic.
I don't
Oh,
understand
give it
how
to me.
anybody can run the ropes as fast as Braun Breaker runs the ropes. How is that possible?
I don't
It
know.
doesn't seem like it
I don't
should
know.
be possible physically. Like the dude's
You
a freak athlete.
know what grabs me? Okay, so a few years ago, when his younger brother graduated from high school, I was working at a restaurant here, and they came and ate. They got like a special chef's room that was behind, like technically in the back of the restaurant. It's like in the main restaurant's behind a mirror. Like you have to put
Okay.
a mirror open to get into this room, and like
Right.
it's right like there's a door from the kitchen directly in there.
Oh wow.
Like it's like a chef's table,
VIP baby.
VIP as fuck. Like this is a TV chef's restaurant that I worked at. Like it was
Yeah.
here, here where I live, and the Steiners came and ate, and I remember hearing about it. Like the waitress who took the phone call during the day was like, "Oh," she comes back. She's like, "Chef, I need to make a chef's table room." He's like, "Okay," and he pulls out his name, and she's like, Rex Steiner, and I was like, "Okay, I know that name." And then she starts talking. She's like, "He says he's from WWE," and I was like, "Holy fuck!" I'm about to have to cook a filet mignon for Scott Steiner, who 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 didn't order the filet. He ordered a freaking like a flat iron steak. I don't know why you order a steak like that at a restaurant that's like famous for its fillets and Spanish food. But he ordered like a flat iron steak and then complained about it on Google. The son of a bitch. Um, I didn't cook it though, so fuck.
That
um,
sounds like such a Scott Steiner thing to
he did,
do.
he did. I met, so I met Braun once in a work setting where I couldn't fanboy out and like, hey, can I take a picture with you? Like, I can't do that.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm I'm literally like running a whole station for this. Like, there was like 4 chefs on the brigade running this station, so I'm running a station for this VIP lunch. I can't just be like, oh my god, Rick and Scott
Yeah.
Steiner sitting in there with their kids, and oh my god, like I was doing
Yeah.
that inside for sure, but I could not whip out my phone and be like, hey, let me get a selfie, or even tell them I was their fan. I had to keep
Right.
my ass in the kitchen and do my job. And it, Braun, I met him because I took a break in the middle of like right before their dessert course, which I had nothing to do with. So I was able to take a break at that point, and I was going to the bathroom, and so was he.
Ah,
And he's even bigger in person than they show him on TV, which is fucking wild.
yeah. Like he's
He
not
is
overly
like
tall, but
he's
he's
so
a
thick,
solid dude.
dude.
Yeah.
I swear to God, the width from like the front of his chest to the back of his shoulders was easily like as wide as I am standing frontwards. It was, I was just like I just bumped into it. Was like, oh, I'm sorry. So, holy shit, look at this guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just like, he
That's
is.
great
So,
though.
so when I see him move the way he does in the ring, and then know, like physically, personally, I've been in front of this man. I know how big he actually is.
Yeah.
It's amazing how athletic he is. I want him and freaking Jacob Fatu so bad. I want it
Yeah.
so bad. And how do we keep the aura of Jacob Fatu being a world beating monster? You're gonna have to make him beat Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker can take a loss and continue on like nothing happened. He has done it no less than 3 times over the last 700 days or so. He lost
Yeah.
to Sami Zayn. He lost to
I mean, he lost the NXT
Jey
championship to Dolph
Uso.
Ziggler.
Yeah, he's
So,
lost to Dolph Ziggler. I mean,
and then
he can do
to
that and then
Carmelo.
just
So,
he can do that and then just move on and do
yeah.
whatever else he wants. I would like to eventually see Braun versus Gunther again
Yeah,
for the world
think
title.
that's I think that's definitely in the cards as a major feud at some point, probably in the next 2 years.
Yeah. So I really think that like I think that's the way we keep the aura. We can keep both, or they can both be protected in this feud and just have banger match after banger matches. Just like you guys, you want to like up the quality of the product in your ring. Give us something to be excited about. These
Yeah.
guys had a stare down like a month and a half ago. Just a random. They ran into each other during a match and stood up and had a stare down. And the crowd popped so loud for that. Just the idea that these two guys might get physical with one another. You cannot ignore that. Like, I can't believe it's been a month and a half and it hasn't happened.
I
And
guarantee you that once they're in the ring together at the Royal Rumble, there will be something. It'll be a teaser. It'll be a little, it'll wet your palate a little bit,
maybe,
tease for down the road. But I can almost guarantee that there's going to be a spot in the Royal Rumble match itself where those two have like a 30-second, I'm going to compete with you to see who's crazier, mini match.
yeah. I mean, I'm anxious to see this year's Royal Rumble. There's been a lot of developments over the last 365 days that, like, there are serious competitors that people are not, they don't have them at the forefront of their mind, but they've
Yeah.
been built in such a way over the last year that there are multiple serious competitors in this match, and Super John Cena is going to be there. I fully believe that if they are going to commit to this man being the world champion one more time,
Yeah.
this is going to have to be a Super Cena run. And I feel like they may just be slotting it in where The Rock would have been were he available.
See, I would go the other route. I would have him beat Gunther, have him beat the heel. Have him beat the heel. Don't have him beat the babyface. Don't I I won't say ruin Cody, but don't cut his legs out from under him for the sake of a part-timer.
Now here's where I'm.
Gunther will be fine. He can always get his heat back. It's fine.
Well,
Cody as the babyface and kind of face of the promotion to an extent. I think you're better served by having both of them at the top than one undercut the other.
now here's the thing. Okay, I think we may be kind of covertly, very slyly staring down the barrel of a heel Cody. The reason I say that is because, one, everything Kevin Owens says makes sense. This is not like a raving lunatic heel who is blaming the face for something that blatantly didn't happen. Everything he says is valid and legitimate. We can then go and say that, yeah, he may have fought Owens and they fought to the back, but it may look to Jimmy Uso like Cody Rhodes walked off on him.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he didn't have to chase down Kevin Owens. So we might be looking at a heel Cody. And if that's what's happening, things could get really interesting in WrestleMania season. It could get wild.
Yeah. I'll say that they would need to pull the trigger on that sooner rather than later, though. Because, yeah. I mean, if you're having Cena win, you can maybe stretch it out a month. Oh, who's he gonna fight? Who's he gonna choose? You could maybe stretch that out for 3 or 4 weeks, and have him like open Elimination Chamber with his decision, and then have the Elimination Chamber match itself with 3 guys from each brand, and whoever Cena doesn't pick is what they're fighting for. But like you can't have Cody drag out the heel turn that long if that's the plan.
I wouldn't want him to drag it out that long, but I could see them working this up and John Cena making his decision for it to be Cody Rhodes and being like, I respect you, but I want that particular title. And I could see him winning it at WrestleMania and that being where Cody makes the turn, where he's finally sent over the edge. Like all of this build up from Kevin Owens and everything else. And then finally it's like, oh, now he's lost the world title and he, smacks John Cena in the back of the head with a chair or something. And that's how he sends him out. Like maybe that's how we write John Cena off of WWE programming. by having Cody Rhodes like severely injure him after losing the title to him, and then he
and
has to
then
like
have
you
and then
know
have Cody win it back again and vacate as if nothing ever happened except he's turned heel.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, that be just the way the WWE would do it, though. I mean,
I mean,
sorry for having watched y'all's product for 40 years, but here we are.
yeah, there are
So
habits, there are
I like your
tropes.
way better. To be fair,
Yeah.
I like your way better, but I mean, but that's just if any of that's going to happen. I really don't know what's about to happen. Like, how are they going to work John Cena into the world title picture anywhere? Don't know. Besides him winning the Royal Rumble, but who do they have to? What storylines otherwise are they going to have to sacrifice for John Cena now winning the Royal Rumble? I mean, it doesn't make sense for Roman to win it unless he would also be going after Gunther because he's a face now. Um, I I I am for the first time like going into a Royal Rumble over the next month or so. I am not in a position to call the winner, like where I would normally be like, I got a top five of who's gonna one of these guys is gonna win the Rumble, and I'm usually right. I don't know now. I don't know now. I don't have a top five. I don't even have a 10. There's 30 guys who could conceivably win the Royal Rumble right now.
Isn't that a great feeling?
It is actually.
Isn't it?
It
I
is. I
love
like
the
what they're doing.
unpredictability is something that a lot of times the Royal Rumble plays up but doesn't deliver on
Mm-hmm.
because they telegraph their winner too much. Um, there are ways that they've subverted that in the past, like the one with Brock Lesnar defending or looking to win the Royal Rumble while WWE champion and literally eliminating half the field before Drew gets to him. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I hated that at the time. I hated it. Looking back now, it was genius because
Mm-hmm.
it put like ultimately most of the guys that he eliminated weren't guys that had a shot anyway. Uh, I do miss the fact that I think he eliminated Kofi, but Kofi didn't get a chance to Kofi.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a missed opportunity, but I mean, it made Drew
Oh yeah.
practically overnight. Like that in and of itself was the trade off that makes it worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knew that was coming. Nobody could have called that. There were lots of people, especially once that match started, he just started chucking guys out. It's like, oh, he's going to win the whole stinking thing by eliminating every single person, isn't he? It's such a
Mm-hmm.
WWE thing to do. Um, there are other matches. I mean, once you want to bring up an infamous one, once Daniel Bryan got eliminated in 2015, it was very clear that Roman was the chosen one, and they
Mm-hmm.
booed it out of the building.
Oh
Even
yeah.
the Rock's endorsement couldn't save it. So, I mean, there are a lot of times where it's predictable, and there are a lot of times where it's unpredictable, but they still pick the wrong guy,
Mm-hmm.
like Sheamus or Alberto Del Rio,
Oh,
or like guys that like should he even be in this position? Like,
right.
I don't know. Like maybe if they had been properly elevated by it, if the follow up had been there, yeah, you can say it's worth it. But usually, historically, the follow up hasn't risen to the task,
Mm-hmm.
and this doesn't seem like it's a case of that though. Like this seems the way you describe it anyway. Like you know, a lot of people have a very decent chance of winning. Uh, you know, I like that feeling. That feeling where you don't know what can happen is that's the secret sauce right there.
Yeah, it
That
is.
unpredictability. Like,
Yep.
sometimes predictability can work in your favor, when you are anticipating something that you really want to see.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't have as big a dog in the fight, and there are a lot of dogs in the fight, hey,
Yeah.
unpredictability.
The way I say it like this is that wrestling itself is like a really good fucking order of French fries, man. It really is. It's a
Mm.
great order of French fries. But unpredictability is ketchup on my fries, bro. Like it is the sauce that brings your, whether you use fry sauce in some parts of the countries or ketchup like we do down here, whatever you put your fry, that thing that you put on your fries, that everybody has one and it makes them better. that is unpredictability in wrestling. That is
Yeah.
it's the sauce that makes everything better. It is it is rocket sauce for a company. If you're unpredictable, if I can't sit here and fantasy book your next year just based on wrestling tropes and the way you're booking your show, that's great. It's the best thing. It not knowing like go. I've been watching the Royal Rumble 30 some odd years now.
Yeah.
Not knowing who's going to win is kind of rare, and
Yeah.
not having like a 10 or 11 or even 15 people that I can name that should win, but like, man, the roster's so stacked right now. There's a million ways they could attack this on top of like who's going to show up this year.
Yeah.
I mean, like who's been gone? Like it's almost like with all the crap going on, it's almost hard to keep track of who's been gone and like who could show up and who's not contracted anywhere right now. That's even harder now with AEW being around. Like you never know who's contracted where anymore. Only when it runs out. So
Joe Hendry.
I really hope he shows up.
I think he
This,
will.
the same way I hope Jordan Gray shows up for the women's rumble again.
I
I
mean,
still don't
they
think that's
haven't really.
benefiting TNA any at all, but I
I
still think
mean, it's been pretty quiet for a while now
yeah, there
on
hadn't
that
been a
front.
lot of
There's
crossovers
not
lately.
been a crossover in a bit.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, other than that, like I really like that we're going into Royal Rumble season because I separate that from WrestleMania season because I love the Royal Rumble.
Royal
Um,
Rumble's the best.
but yeah, I mean,
It's the best.
we're going into that. I don't know who's going to win on even on the
Mm.
women's side. I no idea. So I'm
I
happy.
mean, that's probably where you bring Charlotte and Becky back, right?
I would hope
I
if
mean, it's
not
the thing
before
that
then,
makes the most sense.
if not before then, at some point, then yes, that's where let's bring them back. But then if you bring them both back in the match, who wins?
Uh, I mean, either one can win. It depends on which belt you want them to go after.
Yeah, I guess you're right, but I still it's I don't know.
I mean,
Love
if
not knowing.
I'm very biased. Like, it's no secret that I'm a huge fan of the man. I'm an enormous from the day I first saw her doing her level best to do a terrible Irish dance number on an NXT stage. I fell in love with that character. I loved her so much from the very beginning. I was so vindicated when I was there on Long Island at Evolution to see her beat Charlotte Flair in that last woman standing match. I was so hyped for that. That was the same show I saw Tony Storm win the Mae Young too. It was a great show. One of the best shows I've ever been to. Really wish they would have made it an annual thing. But yeah, like I'm ride or die for Becky Lynch. Like her personal choices notwithstanding. uh, but like to me, I'm very very invested in Becky Lynch. So if she comes back, I hope it's her. But that's my personal bias speaking, not anything other than my personal affection for Becky Lynch. Like it doesn't, that doesn't take into account storylines or whatever. So.
Right. Yeah, I mean that was it for SmackDown this week. I know we went way past what SmackDown was, but SmackDown was really good this week, except the Bloodline stuff at the end. Let's stop making Jimmy Uso a whipping boy, please. Thank you, Jimmy. Please make better choices, so that they don't. I mean, let's all be better. But other than that, SmackDown was super good this week, and I think that's going to move us right into our hot tag.